Beyond the buzzer, inside the game, this is SportsIQ with Larry Smith.
Monday, August 28th. Glad you're here with us. This is the SportsIQ. Great show coming up. Folks, this is the last full week without college football. And I'll be honest with you, we didn't realize as a family in the Smith household that we were jonesing for football until we're in our hotel in Atlanta this weekend. Got in from Hawaii, did the show on Ion Friday night. Saturday, we're getting ready to leave. We're sitting there watching Friday night and then Saturday morning reruns from last year. Now, I knew it. My 22-year-old son knew it. My wife did not. She's watching it. She's reacting to it as if it's real time. And we had to tell her, by the way, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. This happened last November. This isn't. Oh, I thought it was real. No. This is last year. but the thing is, of all the options on the TV, streaming, everything else, we're watching a game from last year. And we're watching high school football. By the way, I don't know if you saw on ESPN, the $65 million stadium we talked about in Buford, Georgia, about 45 minutes outside Atlanta, 62. I mean, the big screen is bigger than some college stadiums. I mean, it's insane. So, but producer Tony reminded me here, week 0 is this week. We will have some games this week. Week 1 is next week. So, hey, it's here. It's no more waiting. No more your wife watching last year's games. So anyway, hey, speaking of, we've got a great guest coming up here later on the show. Joe Gaither, friend of the show, is back to talk Alabama Crimson Tide. We will also continue our countdown with producer Tony of our top 25. We've got 10 down, 15 to go, and we'll find out the producer Tony, and therefore we will say our, because we'll adopt his thoughts. Because that's how much we like them. Our top 25 here in the show in college football. So lots coming up. Let's get to some of the headlines, and we've got some NFL preseason chatter a bit later. And again, Joe Gaither joining us as well. Let's chat Major League Baseball, shall we? Someone finally found a way to beat Milwaukee. Cincinnati, woohoo, put a hand to the Brew Crew's 14-game win streak with a 3-2 win on Sunday. Former Oriole Austin Hayes ripping a bases-loaded single into left to plate the winning run. Don't feel bad for the Brewers, though. They're still an incredible. In their last 70 games, get this, the Brewers are 53-17. Unbelievable how hot they have been. And just because they lost one game doesn't mean they're going to be cooling off. The Cubs did take advantage of the Brewers finally dropping a game as they pick up a game in the standings thanks to their 4-3 win over the Pirates. Pete Crow Armstrong and Ian Happ each with 2 hits for Chicago. They had dropped 4 of 5 before a 3-1 victory on Saturday. The Cubs and Brewers, by the way, start a 5-game series today with a twin bill at Wrigley. The Cubs begin 8 games back in the Central. Scary to think just a few weeks ago, these two met and they were tied atop the NL Central, and the Brewers have taken off since then. Again, now an 8-game spread there in the division. The Phillies lost right-handed ace Zach Wheeler over the weekend with a blood clot in his shoulder. No timetable for his return. They did get some good news yesterday on the field. 11-9 slugfest win over the Nationals. The 2 players back from injury on Sunday. Aaron Nola made his first start since the middle of May. He gave up 6 runs and 2 1/3 innings work. Alec Baugh marked his return with a 3-run blast for Philly. Mets and Mariners facing off in Williamsport at the Little League World Series Sunday. After a day of having fun with the teams and players in the series, the Mets took down the Mariners 7-3. Mark Vientos was the hitting star for New York. A 3-run blast made it 6-1 Mets, I should say. Cal Raleigh hit his league-leading 47th home run in the losing effort for the Mariners. Okay, NL West. Dodgers made it clear they're ready to be left for dead. They came into the weekend series with the Padres, having seen a 5.5-game lead at the All-Star break, turned into a 1-game deficit. Mookie Betts blasted a tie-breaking homer in the 8th to lead the way to the 5-4 victory and a sweep in the series. L.A. outscoring San Diego 14-6 in the 3 games at Chavez Ravine to take a 2-game lead in the West. The Padres would get a chance for revenge on their turf starting Friday night. So maybe there's some life out there. In the American League, all 3 of the AL East contenders looking for sweeps on Sunday. Only one got it done. The Yankees, that is. Cody Bellinger driving in 3 runs. Paul Goldschmidt had 3 hits against his former team. The Yanks took the broom to the Cardinals with an 8-4 win and the sweep on the weekend affair. Meanwhile, the Blue Jays lost their chance for a sweep of the Rangers with a 10-4 loss. Nathan Eovaldi won his 7th straight decision for the Rangers. The Red Sox also had a chance for a sweep, but the Marlins rallied for 3 in the 9th. They take the 5-3 victory. Brooks Lee's first career grand slam capped a 6-run third, and the Twins beat Detroit, I should say. The Twins are Minnesota. The Twins beat Detroit 8-1 Sunday to avoid a 4-game sweep. And the Orioles shut down the Astros bats for the second time in 3 games. Jordan Westburg hit a 3-run homer among 4 hits with a career best 5 RBI. Dean Kramer pitching 7 sharp innings as the Orioles get the 12-0 win over Houston. The Astros still a game and a half up on the Mariners in the West. Okay, WNBA, we've talked about the injuries that the Indiana Fever have suffered. Caitlin Clark is perpetually day by day with that groin injury, that she's only played 10 games the entire season. Still out. They lost Ari McDonald and Sydney Colson to season-ending knee injuries in the same game. Now, Sophie Cunningham is out. She'll have an MRI done today. Cunningham getting injured in the second quarter on Sunday with a knee injury. There's no word again on how long she'll be out. Kelsey Mitchell scored 34 of her career high, tying 38 points after halftime. Lexi Hull hit a 3-pointer in the corner with 45 seconds left. And the Indiana Fever rallied from 21 points down to beat Connecticut 99-93 in overtime. The Sun have lost so many games in the fourth quarter of this season. It's just not good. The Mystics got big games again from their 2-star rookies. 95-86 win over L.A. Sonia Citron tied a career high with 5 3-pointers. She had 24 points. Kiki Iriafen added 18 points, 10 rebounds. It was her 12th double-double of the season. The 2 all-star rookies have just been outstanding for Washington. They got the big win at Indiana Friday night. Atlanta saw their 6-game win streak snapped Friday in Seattle, but started a new streak on Sunday as they beat Golden State 79-63. Golden State, by the way, on Friday got their 18th win. That is a WNBA record for an expansion team. 18 wins. That breaks the old mark of 17 wins by the Detroit Shock back in 1998. Of course, they only played 30 games back then. Now they play 44, so that does help. But still, they're outstanding. Trying to become the first expansion team ever to make the playoffs. But back to Atlanta, Ryan Howard, 14 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. Brianna James added 13 points, 9 boards. Atlanta handed the Valkyries just their 3rd loss in their last 10 games. They've been outstanding. In Vegas, Asia Wilson. Could she now be the MVP favorite? She has, I think, in my mind, she's at least caught the injured Afisa Collier right now. 34 points, another 30-point game for her. Chelsea Gray added 10 points at a career high, tying 14 assists. Las Vegas tied their season high with 18 3-pointers, 106-87 win over Dallas on Sunday. Vegas topped 100 points for the 4th time this season. They've now won 7 straight games and 9 of 10. And again, Las Vegas, remember, they're just a year removed from back-to-back WNBA championships. They've struggled all season long. The coach, Becky Hammond's been calling them out. Asia Wilson's been calling them out, questioning their toughness. They had that one. They laid an egg against Minnesota a couple of weeks ago. Since then, they've been outstanding. Again, 7 straight wins and a big number for Las Vegas. Since the All-Star break, they are 9-0 when scoring 80 points. And I saw another stat. Keep this in mind. I saw this over the weekend. No MVP in the WNBA has ever missed more than 5 games. Now, again, they expanded the schedule this year. That was Jonquel Jones. When she won the league MVP back in 2021, she missed 5 games that year. Well, Nafisa Collier has been the front runner the entire 2025 season, has now missed 7 games entering the week. And so the question is that too much? Now, Asia Wilson's also missed some games. But let's keep in mind, and maybe a conversation down the stretch, Asia Wilson playing as well as anybody right now, and she may have, in the minds of some voters, she may have caught Nafisa. We'll see what happens. So we've got some college football news as well. Tennessee deciding on a starting quarterback for the 2025 season. Joey Aguilar, who transferred him from UCLA after Nico Iamaleava transferred from Tennessee to UCLA. Well, Aguilar will lead the offense onto the field when the Vols open their regular season against Syracuse in Atlanta on August 30th. Aguilar beat out redshirt freshman Jake Merklinger and true freshman George McIntyre for the job. Despite being a recent addition to the roster, he was considered to be the favorite due to his experience as a multi-year starter at Appalachian State. So again, Joey Aguilar, what a crazy he was at App State last season, transferred in the in between semesters at the holiday break to UCLA, got that money, NIL money, to go there, and then here comes Yamaleva. He reads writing on the wall. He comes to UCLA. Crazy, crazy, crazy scene. But that's college sports these days. Okay, quick timeout right now. Still on the way. We'll talk more college football with Joe Gaither. We'll have more of our top 25. But up next, little NFL preseason talk. Some of the highs and lows. That's next on the Sports IQ.
You're listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Welcome back here to the show. Let's talk a little NFL preseason as we're getting closer to the regular season, seeing all the promos. Even again, my wife is the big. I don't know about you guys. I can't commit both weekend days to football. I can't sit for 9 hours and watch a triple header on Saturday and then sit for 8 hours, really from 1 o'clock to 11 o'clock, 10 hours, and watch a triple header on Sunday. I can't do it. Maybe you can, but I can't. I'll watch some and I'll walk away. But my wife, I'll be honest, because last year college football was so good last year, my wife would be the one turning on the TV after church on Sunday. She'd be the one. What game is on? I have no idea. And so anyway, there you go. So not that I don't like it, I love it. I just can't sit. And once I start watching, I'm not going to get up. And before you know it, I didn't go to the gym. And anyway, there you go. So, okay, let's get to some NFL preseason talk. Producer Tony want to get his thoughts of this weekend. Tony, Caleb Williams looked great for the Bears against Buffalo last night. Took advantage of his first preseason time connecting with Olamide Zaccheaus for a 36-yard touchdown on the opening drive. 6 of 10 for 107 yards. Listen, if you're a Bear fan, and I am, this is a positive sign.
That was a great sign if you're a Bears fan. Obviously, there was some talk earlier in the week, Larry. Things weren't quite going so well in camp. They didn't look sharp in reps. They didn't look sharp when they were doing some 7-on-7 drills. He didn't seem to be connecting with his receivers. But, against the Bills, he looked fine. He looked like he had command of the offense. They came out and playing, I don't think the Bills had all of their starters in. That's fine. It's early in the preseason. But you still go out and do that and march down the field. Boom, 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 connect on a nice 36-yard TD pass, you're looking sharp at that point. If you're a Bears fan, you're going, okay, maybe after wandering through the desert more than Israel has ever done, looking for a quarterback, we may have found one. Maybe. Please, we may have found our quarterback.
It is just as a Bear, we have never, in my lifetime, we've never had that guy that's done it. We've had winners, McMahon was a winner.
Yep.
Harbaugh was a winner. Mike Tomczak was a winner. Yeah.
There's only one franchise, Larry, in the NFL that does not have a 4,000-yard passer.
Yeah. I know.
Bears.
I know.
In a single season.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll change this year.
Yeah. We will see. Well, meanwhile, the rookie quarterback, Jackson Dart, we've talked a lot about rookie quarterbacks this year for the Giants. He looked really good. 14 of 16, 137 yards, and had 2 touchdowns, 1 through the air and 1 on the ground.
Yeah, if you're the Giants, going into the season, right, Larry, the Giants were a train wreck. The quarterback room looked like a train wreck. You've gone out, you've signed cast off in Russell Wilson, whose best days, let's face it, are behind him. You signed Jameis Winston, whose best days he hasn't seen yet, may never. You draft Jackson Dart, you move up in the first round to draft Jackson Dart, and you're wondering, okay, what are we going to try to get accomplished here? And Brian Daboll's got to be feeling the heat in his 4th year now in New York. If he can't get things done, he knows his job is probably going to be on the line here really soon. And the neat thing for the Giants, if you're a Giants fan, you're thrilled after watching this game. All 3 of those quarterbacks threw for over 100 yards in that game. Yeah, granted, again, the Jets, were they playing their best defenders? Were they playing some schemes softer than they normally would? Probably, yeah. But the fact that all 3 of them threw for 100 yards in a game, That's a pretty good sign, even if it is just the preseason. You got to have something to build on from that preseason to get you going, especially if you've not had success the last couple of years, right? If you're the Chiefs and you lose a couple of games in the preseason, you go 0-3, who cares? Now it counts. Let's see what happens, right? But if you're the Giants, if you're that struggling team, you got to make some hay in the preseason so that you can build up some confidence among your players, as well as give the fan base something to get excited about.
Yeah. And meanwhile, you'd rather be that New York team than the other New York team. Justin Fields expected to start the season, right? For the Jets, just 1 of 5 in limited duty. Again, he's only out there, a couple series, wasn't much. But this is the quarterback who, speaking of better days, we're still waiting for him to show that he's the potential that he had coming out of college.
Right. I mean, this was a high first-round pick, right? Yeah. Justin Fields. And didn't manage it in the Bears. Again, we know the Bears' issues with quarterbacks. Went to Pittsburgh, got beat out by Russell Wilson, basically. Won a few games, but, looked okay. He still, to me, looks better with his legs than he does with his arm. I don't think he's mastered the NFL passing game. And at this point, when you're 3 or 4 years in, you've got to start wondering, will he ever master, that NFL passing game? Because it is different than in the college ranks. It just is. It's not the same. And if you think it's the same, you're just fooling yourself.
Well, he was one of those guys. I think quarterback is different than other positions. I think you've got to spend minimum 2 years as a starter. I think 3 years. I'd love to see 4. I mean, I just think there's just, you go through and there was, it's not, I don't know what it is now. I've looked at it lately, but years ago back when I was, CNN and at Turner Sports with you, and we were doing stuff. I remember looking up that how really quarterbacks who left early at the time just didn't fare well. I mean, you just, those quarterbacks who left a year on the table. Now, again, the rules have kind of changed. We've had COVID and et cetera. And, but I think with the transfer portal, players transferring, playing right away, the growth isn't always there. And Justin Fields is one of those players I think would have benefited from an extra year in college to work on that. So I agree with you. Another rookie, Trayvon Henderson in New England, second round pick, looking like a steal right now. Hit a touchdown for the second game in a row, 20 yards and only 4 carries as New England beat the Vikings. But again, you talk about running backs and how there's great value. You don't see many running backs taking any more in the first round, just because you can find them in the second round, get that better value for them. And he's a guy that coming out of Ohio State looks like he could be the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, he looks just explosive. The game 1, he had the 100-yard kickoff return where he just flew past everybody. He was hitting the hole nicely the other night, picking up 4 or 5 yards every time he touches the football. Look, if you can find a back in the modern day NFL, especially if you're running on a Mike Vrabel team, right? Mike Vrabel isn't looking to pass it for 5,500 yards a season. He wants to get command of the lines. He wants to ground and pound the ball. Remember, that's where Derrick Henry got his start. Now, Trayvon Henderson is not as big as Derrick Henry is, but he's a little faster than Derrick Henry is. So if they can find a way to get him going, I mean, they might have found something there. Nobody is really thinking New England's going to be much of anything this year. But if they can, it looks like they found the quarterback in Drake May. And if they found a running game now with Trayvon Henderson, then you at least have an offense that can compete in the NFL. They still look like they need some help on the outside with the wideouts, but you're not going to solve every issue in one season. But if that's a team, if Vrabel is the new coach, if he's the guy that's going to lead you and you found this running back and they go 7-9, man, if you're a New England fan, you're going yippee.
Yeah, exactly. Ian, the glory days are over. You've got to build from somewhere, and maybe they could be, like you said, putting the pieces together to build that next winning team up there in New England. We talked about the Browns quarterback situation last week. Shedeur Sanders with the non-contact oblique injury got to start in week 1, was going to start in week 2, but was out because of the injury. So here comes the other rookie, Dylan Gabriel. Not bad. 13 of 18, 143 yards, no touchdowns, but certainly didn't do anything to hurt himself.
No, I mean, he showed well in that game. It was like we talked about, the Eagles aren't playing their starters. All the big guys for the Eagles sat out, but he did his job and he looked good doing it. He got the ball out of his hand fairly quickly. Did have that big pick six early in the game. That is not something you're looking for, from a quarterback of that stature. But still, if you can do that, if he can be a part of that rotation, maybe, they're probably still going to start Joe Flacco to start the season. We get it. And maybe he's got something left in the tank. Who knows? But if you've got a pick in Dylan Gabriel and then a later round pick in Shedeur Sanders, and either one of them comes through, that's a great turnout if you're the Cleveland Browns. You've got to be happy with that. And you got to say, okay, we found something here that we can build on.
One note as well that happened earlier today, the Colts signing 4-time Pro Bowl cornerback Xavier Howard. This was big, the 32-year-old signing in Indy. He didn't play last season after he was released by Miami, but they had to do something because they've had all these injuries here in the preseason, losing 4 key defensive backs. And so they have no depth right now. So they bring a guy in that's may not be the player he was 5 years ago, but he's a veteran that could come in and plug some holes for you.
And that's the only issue with the preseason, even being 3 games long, is you've got these teams getting ready for the regular year, and your season could be over by the time you hit week 1. I mean, you look at the problems that Indy is having. You look at the L.A. Chargers. They've already lost Rashawn Slater, their best offensive lineman, to a season-ending injury. Now they got wideouts dropping like flies over there in L.A. I mean, you simply cannot. The one thing about the NFL is it is a marathon. And if you bust out early with the injuries, you're not going to be around to finish the marathon come late December, early January. And it stinks for the fans and it stinks for those players. But that's reality of life in the NFL. If you don't have depth and if you get hurt early on, especially in the preseason, boy, your odds suddenly become real long for making any hay.
Yeah, I think I mentioned before on the show, back in 2013, I was doing the Falcons show for the local CBS affiliate there, which, by the way, that affiliate just changed on Saturday. Another conversation another time. And it was week 2 against the Rams when Bierman went down, Corey Bierman, and things just went down from there. They wound up going from a playoff team to, I think, 5 wins. Mike Smith fired. I mean, it just snowballs. And if you don't sign the right guys and have depth, you're not going anywhere, to your point. So, look, here's a guy who led the NFL in interceptions with 10 just as recently as 2020. So, good for them to bring somebody in and hopefully he can help plug those holes for them. All right, stay with us. Joe Gaither is up next, talking Alabama football on the SportsIQ.
Are you tired of your website making your business look bad? Is your current web developer dropping the ball? Let's face it, if your website isn't making you money, it's broken. Let Neon Rain create a website that turns your visitors into customers. Neon Rain has worked with hundreds of businesses across North America, building custom websites and applications with modern designs that are easy to update and work well on mobile devices. They can do it for you too. What sets Neon Rain apart? They actually deliver on their promises. Call today for a free consultation. 303-957-3092. That's Neon Rain at 303-957-3092. Or visit them at neonrain.com.
Fans of big sports radio and sports spectacular podcasts have a new home on the Chief Sports Network. Find your favorite programs and content all in one place by downloading the Chief Sports app in your mobile device. Created in South Carolina, the Chief Sports Network is the home of an expanding network of live and podcast format programming. It is also the home of one of the leading national college football podcasts, JC and Morgan, hosted by ESPN's Mike Morgan and 24/7 Sports' JC Sherbert. Download the Chief Sports app for free and find all of your favorite programming under one easy umbrella. Thanks to all of our markets for your loyal support of Big Sports Radio and our Sports Spectacular podcast, and we look forward to connecting with you anywhere in the world on the Chief Sports app.
You're locked in to SportsIQ with Larry Smith.
All All right, college football conversation continues right now. Welcome back to the show. A friend of the show, Joe Gaither, staff writer for BamaCentral.com. Joe, great to have you here on the show. Hey, listen, since last time I talked to you, you've got a little facial hair growing. Was this part of this? Is this just a summer thing for you? What's up?
Oh no! Well, we do a little show on YouTube as well, so trying to catch the peoples. I usually wear some funny glasses as well, just to keep just somebody interested. That's all it is, and the girlfriend likes it, so we keep it.
There you go. The last thing that's key. I've dabbled with shaving the mustache several times over the years, and I get outvoted unanimously by my wife and kids. So,
well, you got to make the family happy, make the loved ones happy. So if they like it, then it's not too much to put up with.
There you go. There you go. Well, speaking of happy, what's the level of glee right now in Alabama, down in Tuscaloosa, going into this 2025 season?
Well, I would put it at a 6, 7. I think it's trepidation. I think it's a cautious optimism for the upcoming season. Kalen DeBoer's second year. I think there's a lot of optimism about Ty Simpson, the new name starter, but there is some trepidation because of his sitting on the bench behind Jalen Milroe for the last couple of years. Oh, if he wasn't good enough to beat out Jalen Milroe, is he good enough to lead Alabama to a title? But you look around the rest of the team, you've got loaded skill position players. All the offensive linemen are highly rated this, highly rated that. So it's just going to be a question of if the coaching staff can keep the team dialed in for 12 weeks and take Alabama back to the college football playoff.
It's impossible to replace a legend, and especially when that legend's name is Nick Saban. We talked last year about this. Again, you and I've talked several times that how difficult that is. How do you think he did, and how do the fans react to having a season that wasn't an 11-12 win season? You didn't win a national title because he's not Nick Saban. It's year one. He's a different guy. How did he do in year one? How was he received in year one?
I think he was received with mixed feelings, but with 9-3, well, really 9-4, losing to Michigan in the bowl game. You've got people who thought that he did a really good job, and you've got people who obviously were upset that he didn't live up to the Alabama standard. Myself, I'm in the camp that he did a really good job. You hold together a roster that was flirting with the transfer portal. As soon as obviously Coach Saban leaves, you got 30 days to decide if you want to stay or go. So he only had a couple of days to get everybody back on board, and obviously you lost some talented players, but kept the majority of the roster together and implemented your system through the summer and into the fall. And really, I mean, you never want to losing to Vanderbilt was a big old stinker. And then you still had the season all out in front of you. You went to Oklahoma and laid probably the biggest egg of the year. Everybody looks at the Vanderbilt loss, but the Oklahoma loss really was, in my opinion, the worst loss because you still had the season to play for and went out there and really did not play very well on the road. But when you get all the way down to it, even through the bowl game, when you lose to Michigan in pretty emphatic fashion, you weren't really ever in that bowl game. I kind of think the team was just out of gas. And this is the first year. You keep everything together, and then you lose a lot of guys in the transfer portal this past winter, and maybe you should have lost a lot of guys in the transfer portal. You bring in a new recruiting class, and everybody stays through the spring transfer portal window, and you all you've been hearing this summer is unity, togetherness, everybody on the same page. So I think it was really kind of a transition year. And if you look at Coach Saban, his first year transition year was 7-6. And so, wow, 9-4, a whole lot better than 7-6. I think that he did about an A- job in his first year. And the people that are upset with the 9-4 maybe aren't considering all the dynamics that were at play last season and how difficult the competition is at this level of college football.
Yeah, well, and I think again that here's somebody who I'm with you. I thought getting 9 wins, no matter how you did it, considering to your point that you're coming in, after the bowl game a year before, right? I mean, Alabama plays, Nick comes back home and says, "I'm done with this." It's not like it was you knew this in November or December. To make that quick change after they played in the national championship game a couple weeks later. Make this quick changeover, keep your players there, build it in, have it's a different system, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what I'm concerned about is I hope that he doesn't get chased out of town. If he only puts up 9 wins in his first 3 seasons, I hope they're not chasing him out of town like they would like at Tennessee or Ohio State.
That's certainly a concern, and I think if you're Kalen DeBoer, if you're in the Kalen DeBoer camp, that you really are looking for him to make the college football playoff this year. If you make the playoff this year, I think that you're pretty much trending towards the trending towards the line of security. But if you go out and lose some, I mean, the road schedule is really, really difficult this year. You're at South Carolina, you're open with Florida State, which I think the common fan is underestimating. I think Gus Malzahn and their revamped offensive line is going to make that a really challenging day. You've got a really challenging road schedule. You go to Georgia for your first SEC road game of the year. You're at South Carolina, as we said. We end at Auburn, and at Auburn was always a bad spot for Coach Saban. He even the games he won, he had to win in miraculous fashion in several ways down at Auburn. So there's a lot of pitfalls on this schedule, but all the teams you lost to last year, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and Oklahoma, are coming back to Tuscaloosa. So it sets up, if you can navigate the schedule, maybe hopefully get out of it at a 10-2 record, you can be in that mix for the SEC championship, and you can be really, really flirting with the college football play. I think if you're in the playoff, he's going to be safe. If he's not in the playoff, the rumblings are going to start rumbling louder and louder, and year 3 is going to be make or break.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. By the way, a quick aside, Alabama does host my alma mater, Eastern Illinois, in late November. So thank you for the check and the privilege of getting our butts whipped. So thank you.
Well, I have a take on these games. I hate these games, and you're welcome for the check. But you know how we've got to get the 4-game red shirt. The freshmen can play in 4 games and keep their red shirt. I think if you're playing the FCS schools, that needs to not count against the 4 games. Encourage the coaches to use that FCS game to play your second stringers, your freshmen. Use it as a free game. It doesn't count against the red shirt rule, so you can still play your 4 games against, Georgia, whoever, South Carolina, whatever. But when you're playing that FCS school, the coaches know, my freshmen can play in this for free. And maybe it'll encourage them to play in those games, and maybe the competition in those games will be just a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, after all, look, no, but they're not fooling anybody. We know why they're scheduling these types of games in November. So it's not like you're really planning on playing your starters for 60 minutes, right? I mean, so to your point, I totally agree. It's a great idea. And maybe let's start that campaign to get that out there.
Yeah, I just don't, from a fan standpoint and from a media standpoint, there's nothing really intriguing. Will Alabama beat Eastern Illinois? What are we looking for this week? XYZ, AB. Well, make it intriguing. This new 2020, this class of 2025 that you brought in with Keelan Russell, who leads the class as a freshman. You give Ty Simpson the week off and say, Keelan, this is your chance to operate as the starter, and you got to get us through this. We got to see if you're ready for this. Now, obviously, Simpson and the starters will be sitting right there ready to go in if things go towards the Michigan App State direction. But you give the new freshman hey guys, you guys were all highly rated. We'll see what you got right here. You got to make sure see if you're ready for some action in Bryant-Denny Stadium. That's just an out of the box thought to make these games a little more intriguing.
Yeah, you mentioned the schedule overall though, and it is one that look, the SEC West always was just a juggernaut. I mean, year in, year out, it was never easy. It doesn't get this feels like an SEC West type schedule for Alabama in terms of, like you said, they open at Georgia, a team that Alabama almost never played in the regular season under the division system, and yet they get the Bulldogs early. You mentioned against Florida State. So many people are saying, yeah, I don't know if you can ever say Florida State's a trap game because, I mean, really, but coming off the season that they had, I agree with you. People are really kind of underestimating them right now. But then right now, you look later, they've got 4 straight games against ranked teams at number 24 Tennessee. At the moment, they're 24. Home against Tennessee, at number 13 South Carolina, home against number 9 LSU, and then home against number 18 Oklahoma. All those games at the end of October, start of November. Wow.
Yeah, and it starts even before that. You're going to have extra emphasis on the Vanderbilt game because of what happened last year. And so really it's Vanderbilt, it's at Missouri at 11 a.m., and then it's Tennessee. If you're not if your focus is on getting revenge against Vanderbilt and Tennessee, as it probably should be after last season, well, are you going to Como, Missouri and falling asleep at 11 a.m. against Eli Drinkwitz? And what are they going to do? Well, Perbula seems to be this dual threat tough quarterback, and Eli Drinkwitz is an offensive mind. Now Alabama beat the brakes off of them last year in Tuscaloosa, but if you're not ready for that, can it be a repeat of the Vanderbilt performance last year where you think, oh, we're going up to Nashville last year and just handling our business, but gritty Diego Pavia says no thank you? Is the same formula right there as you're focusing on all these bigger name teams. Missouri has a kind of a soft opening to its schedule, but really I think it starts right there after you got the bye week, then you're into Georgia, then it's Vanderbilt, and it's all you're basically rolling right there after you go to Athens. And so I think there's a lot of pitfalls on this schedule. I know a lot of Alabama fans want to see 11-1, want to see 12-0, but I'm just not sure if that's in the cards based on the way the schedule falls.
I mean, if they're 11-1, 12-0, they're in the top 3 in the country. I mean,
yeah.
And even Wisconsin's a team that you handled last year with Madison. You get him back, but that's another coach there who is trying to, in Luke Fickell, who is trying to prove himself that he has not had the success of past coaches, and there's another coach in the hot seat needing to get a signature win, and this would be huge if they can pull this off. So again, when you're Alabama, you're always wearing the target. I mean, they know that anyway when they step onto the field.
Yeah, you're wearing the target. I mean, despite Nick Saban not being there, you can still beat Alabama and proverbially raise the banner. Oh, we beat Big Bad Bama, because the talent is still extremely high throughout the board. And Kalen DeBoer is a respected coach. It's not like the program has fallen to 9-4. Oh, the program's falling. The sky is falling. They can't beat anybody. I think Alabama still has the mystique of being Alabama. And as long as they keep, I don't know when that will fade. I think you're probably going to have another. You're probably going to have a few 8-5s before that mystique starts to fade, because of the dynasty that Nick Saban really built. And you still actually have some Nick Saban players on the roster. So as long as these guys that have been recruited by Coach Saban are still around, the mystique is still going to be there. So everybody's going to be gunning for you week in and week out.
Yeah, no question at all. Talking with Joe Gaither once again, staff writer for BamaCentral.com, also part of the Alabama Crimson Tide on SI staff. Curious, obviously Georgia's right there coming in preseason. They're number 5. What's the one team in the SEC that scares you, that should scare Alabama?
Taking Texas and Georgia away, because those are the obvious answers. I am looking at South Carolina. I'm looking at South Carolina and traditionally LSU, but really the South Carolina road trip. South Carolina came to Tuscaloosa last year, and it was one of the uglier games that Alabama actually won. But Alabama has to go out there this year. Sandstorm's going to be going crazy. Lenora Sellers is going to he's dual threat quarterback. Alabama struggled with dual threat quarterbacks last season. I think that Dylan Stewart is a fine edge rusher, and you've got question marks at your right tackle. So if you can, if they can manipulate a matchup against Alabama's right tackle, South Carolina presents a lot of problems. And particularly the way that South Carolina's schedule lines up, they're going to have a challenging schedule. If they've dropped a couple of games and they need a signature win, I can see Shane Beamer really rallying the troops. Hey, Alabama's coming into town. Let's get our signature season back on track. So I think South Carolina is a really, really dangerous team that not everybody's talking about.
Yeah, and it's funny that Sellers all of a sudden is on some NFL draft boards next year. I mean, boy, after the one big season, but he's just such a great talent out there. I want to ask you a question I ask everyone when we talk college football, journalists and experts all over the country. NIL House, the settlement, finally coming into play on July 1. How has that changed things at Alabama, if at all?
I think the Alabama entity, Alabama's NIL collective, has really always been operating in a conservative mindset. That even before the settlement, I think that they've been operating on, hey, Billy Five Star, if you want to make some money, here's an actual business venture that we can pair you with. No, obviously there has been some straight up, collective checks right to you and that's going to slow down with the settlement. But I think the Alabama entity has really done a good job partnering with local businesses, with bigger brands, and putting their players into places and positions where they're going to operate still continue as normal because it's kind of been what the settlement has implemented as far as actual NIL. What I do think is the revenue sharing it has really replaced some of the NIL straight up pay for play. So you got Alabama at a $16-17 million roster because of the 22 million 21 million revenue sharing number, and so football's getting 16 17 18 million of that, and you're able to basically replace the pay for play with the revenue sharing while keeping up the players with actual business ventures making the money on top of the rev share. So I think the rev share is really the kind of the linchpin of the whole deal, because it replaces straight up pay for play. It actually comes from the school now, and I think you're seeing the rev share maybe change things in recruiting in the sense that Alabama is being a little more selective. They are in the 2026 class. They're going after, I think, quality players still, but maybe not as highly rated players. You have to turn on the tape and look at these 3 stars that that Alabama has committed and say, oh, okay, I can see why the coaches have committed these guys, are going after these guys, but they're not 5 stars. They're not 4 stars. Now you're still getting a few 5 stars. Xavier Griffin out of Georgia looks like a bad man, but you've still got, but you're going after a few more 3 stars, a few more guys that are under the radar more, and you got to go find their tape and figure out, oh, that's why Alabama is going after them. Maybe they're not as highly rated on Rivals, On 3, 24/7, those types.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to watch kind of how this unfolds. I mean, we saw this kind of the Wild Wild West era for a few years. Now there are some guide rails, as I've said, some guardrails, some guidelines. How will that change things? Only time will tell. Joe, we appreciate your time as always, man. Tell the girlfriend we love the Van Dyke. Looking good. Look forward to talking to you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. I hope to talk to you guys again soon.
All right, brother. Definitely. You can count on it. Joe Gaither joining us once again. Love talking to him. Staff writer with BamaCentral.com. Alabama starting off the season at Florida State, in which should be an outstanding game. Looking forward to that at the start of the season. Coming up just next weekend. 12 days away. Crazy. All right. We've got more college football still on the way. Stay with us.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you are making the same or less money. So, what do? You rack up credit card debt. That's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess what? If you rack up too much credit card debt like some of us, you can't pay your bills. Then the credit card companies, as nice as they are, start hounding you for money. Then you start your downward spiral. A smart thing for you to do is to call the Zero Debt. They can help you consolidate all your credit card bills into one affordable payment. Millions of people have done it. It works to make you debt-free. Make this free call right now. It costs you nothing to learn more.
800-507-7293. 800-507-7293. 800-507-7293. That's 800-507-7293.
Okay, welcome back. As we've been doing all month long, counting down our preseason top 25 as sliced and diced and prepared for us by producer Tony. It has been interesting so far. In case you're just now joining us, Baylor number 25, Georgia Tech 24, Iowa State 23. At number 22 is Arizona State, North Carolina 21, South Carolina 20, Louisville 19, Indiana 18, Utah's at number 17, and then at number 16 is Ole Miss. That brings us to today, number 15, producer Tony, who is the 15th best team in the country.
For number 15, I am going with the Tennessee Vols. I think it's great that over the weekend they finally settled that quarterback issue. You kind of figured it was going to be Joey Aguilar anyway. 2-year starter there at App State, had gone to UCLA, comes back, the whole thing with Nico, blah, blah. He's there. Now he's good to go. And the kid is talented. 6,700 yards passing the last year's 56 TDs. The bad part, Tennessee Vols fans, he threw 24 picks in 2 years at App State. Man, if he keeps that up at Tennessee, things are going to get ugly.
Yeah. He may not be the starter for long. If he does that, that is. Yeah, that is not good. And, we just talked to Joe Gaither talking about again in terms of how competitive things are. And that's the piece of this is even with the transfer portal and you can go get a veteran quarterback, et cetera, if you got the money. It doesn't always mean that they pan out. You run the risk. You've got to keep those guys you recruited, the redshirt freshmen, the true freshmen, keep them happy and keep hope alive because you may need them at some point in the season.
Absolutely. Injuries are going to take their toll on any team. And you've got to be ready to step up and step in. And, like they say all around, next man up. You've got to have that. The thing that you can watch for if you're a Vols fan, Larry, and you don't expect this, right? You think Josh Heupel, you think, oh, we're throwing the ball all over the yard. We're running this up-tempo offense. We're throwing here, throwing there. Interesting stat. In the last 3 seasons, do you know what Tennessee's record is when they rush for over 185 yards in a game?
Probably 1-0.
They are 23-0 when they run for over 185 yards. So for all that up-tempo offense, the running game is key in Tennessee. So they will be leaning on that, I think, for a chance to do that. And the schedule lines up nicely, for them. Yeah, they got to go to Alabama and Florida, and they host Georgia. But other than that, they don't get Texas. They don't get Texas A&M. They don't get Auburn, LSU, or South Carolina. I think Billy Napier might trade schedules with them there at Tennessee in a heartbeat if he had the chance.
Absolutely. Well, to your point with the up-tempo, I'm surprised that they have run for more than 185 yards 23 times. I mean, that surprises me. So, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's number 15, Tennessee. Number 14 is Michigan, and we didn't have time last week to talk much about this. Look, preseason rankings mean nothing in terms of total season revenue, but hold on to this because, boy, they're about to have to write a big check as a part of the sign stealing thing. I'm surprised that they the NCAA and anybody in college sports, they're very reluctant to actually pull away a championship. I mean, the 2013 Louisville basketball team, only one I can think of. I mean, they'll go through and they'll vacate. But they won't do that much. They held on to their championship, but boy, they're going to pay a big price.
Yeah. I mean, the penalties were harsh. Sharon Moore's got to sit out another game here as a part of the suspension. They're getting hit financially hard, but, that's the price of trying to circumvent the rules. To me, it wasn't that big of an issue, but I guess a lot of other teams it is. But, it is what it is. So Michigan's going to need to maybe get to that playoff to make up for some of that financial loss.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing I think, Connor Stallions, the assistant, the staffer who was behind all this, an 8-year show cause, Jim Harbaugh, a 10-year show cause. I guess the reason they didn't touch the on-field performance is because no players were involved. That's what I was reading at some point. Yep. I hear over the weekend. We already knew Jim Harbaugh's never going to coach in college again, so it's kind of a moot point. But I'm with you. I think one, whatever he did, but I think the lying about it, the one thing you don't do the NCAA is you can't. I mean, Bruce Pearl can attest to this. You don't lie about. Bruce Pearl, if they've got a picture of the recruit in your house when he was only a junior, and they already know he was there, you can't come in and say, no, it's not my house. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, it's one thing you can't do. So, but okay, on to this year's team. Look, they had some struggles last year. And number 14 is, one, they're Michigan. They're always going to, get the benefit of the doubt. But they're one of the teams right now that's going to be, competing to be in possibly in the playoff.
Yeah, I mean, they still have a shot to get to the playoff. There's no doubt about it. It's all going to really fall on Bryce Underwood. The passing game last year was abysmal.
Yeah.
They only passed for more yards than 3 teams, Army, Navy, and Air Force. And they all run the option offense, so they don't throw the ball. So that's the only 3 teams you could outpass on an offensive side. Underwood's going to need to get a handle early, and be able to stretch the field for Michigan to have success. Because, look, Justice Haynes, who comes over from Alabama, we just talked to Joe about, he didn't get a lot of playing time. He got a nice amount of playing time in Alabama. But here's a kid that averages over 6 yards a carry in limited duty. He could be a workhorse beast for Michigan this year, and they're going to need it. But you still got to have a semblance of offense, on offense, of being able to pass and run. You're not going to succeed being one-dimensional, not in the Big Ten.
Yeah. Did not realize they played 3 service academies last year.
No, they didn't play them. Those are
for
the whole season stats.
Gotcha.
Those are the only 3 teams they were able to outpass in all of FBS football.
Oh my goodness, that's even worse. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, look at it this way, Wolverine fans, nowhere to go but up.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
All right. Michigan number 14 in our preseason top 25. Our moment of awe is next.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-215-0341. 800-215-0341. 800-215-0341. That's 800-215-0341.
Time now for a moment of awe. You know what? It's rare to have NBA players with statues outside their arenas. One, not all of them stay with the team long enough to do that. One day LeBron James may have one. Where do you put it? I'm not sure. But it's not very many. Only a handful of players have had that done. There have been no WNBA players until now. Sue Bird in Seattle becoming the first WNBA legend to be immortalized outside her arena. An 8-foot-tall statue unveiled on Sunday outside Climate Pledge Arena. 21 seasons with the Seattle Storm. It has just been unbelievable. Super cool what she has done there in Seattle. Awesome. Awesome stuff. All right. And that's our moment of awe. It's pretty cool. Thanks so much again to Joe Gaither for joining us. Thanks to you as well. Make it a great Monday, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith, Monday through Friday. Continue the conversation at SportsIQ LS. We'll see you next time.